Okay, so we're going to replace the disposal here. So we have to start out by taking off the pipes and taking off this pipe so that we can do that. First thing is unplug, so there's no chance of electricity. So then we take our pliers, we loosen this one. This is the drain, so make sure you don't turn the water on in the sink after taking this apart. Take this apart. There. Now the drains are out for the sink. Now we take this hose off. This is the drain for the garbage, or for the dishwasher. I have to take the hose off. Okay, so we pried it a little bit with the screwdriver to get it loose, and then we take that hose off. That's the dishwasher drain. Okay, now we need to get rid of the water that came out of the drain. Now this is where most people make a mistake and pour it up here because it's the normal thing to do, but you just took the drain off, so if you do that, it's going to go on the floor. So you have to go to another sink someplace else. Okay, so now we need to take the garbage disposal loose from the sink. So we use the special tool that comes with the new disposal. It has two purposes. One for getting the disposal loose. The other one is after you get the new disposal in, if it gets clogged, you can put this in the bottom and break it free. So we put it up here in this ring. It gives us a handle to turn the ring, but you have to hold the disposal up because it's going to drop when you turn the ring. So it turns loose, and then the whole disposal comes out. And there's a little water in it. So we drain that, and then it's out. Okay, now that the disposal's out, we're going to take this old mounting bracket out and put the new one in. So we take a screwdriver and we loosen the 3 screws here. That's the first thing that we have. The screws all loose. There's a snap ring right here. So you take it, you have to pry that lip off. So there's the snap ring. And then once you do that, you can pull down the piece with the bolts and the other flange.
Okay.
Now, this piece here, you can push up into the sink. So if you want to look in the sink. Okay, so now after taking the drain out, there's some old plumber's putty up here on top. So you have to take that out, and then there'll be a little bit of a leftover stuff here. So you use a putty knife. A plastic putty knife works good. This is a brass one because you don't want to scratch the sink. And you just go around the hole and make sure it's all cleaned up and ready for the next one to go in. Okay, so now we have the new sink flange from the new disposal, and we need to put plumber's putty around here to seal it So we're going to use this stain-free plumber's putty. We use the stain-free version because we have a porcelain sink and we don't want it to stain the sink. So it's plumber's putty. It's just looks like Play-Doh. So you get some. You want to do like you did when you were a kid and roll it out into a little rope. And you want to just put it all the way around. It's okay to have extra's good. Any extra's going to squeeze out. Have to be pretty, just enough to cover the whole thing. Then once we have that, we take it over to the sink and we put it in the hole in the bottom of the sink and turn it however you'd like. This one's got words, so we're going to turn it so the words are readable. Kind of push it down a little bit and let it squeeze the extra out, and then we just go down below now. Okay, now we're on the bottom of the sink and we have to put all the clamps and flanges back on. So you start out with the gasket and put him up there first, and then the one without the bolts, and then the one with the bolts. You just need to hold them up there for right now. Then you have to put this snap ring in this little groove right here. Now, it may be easier to have somebody hold from the top, but you can put it on. See, as I work on this, then the piece in the middle wants to slide back up in the sink. So this is where it's better to have somebody push down from the top of the sink while you put the ring on. Okay, so now that we've got the ring on here, now we line the screws up so that they're line up with the plate on top, and we tighten them evenly so that this plate pushes up against the bottom of the sink. Okay, now that we have everything tight on the bottom, it squeezed out all the extra plumber's putty. So then you come through and you can just, with your fingers, take up the excess. Kind of get a little bit. There. Okay, so this is the garbage disposal we bought. It's the InSinkErator heavy duty 3/4 horsepower. We got the compact version to save space underneath our sink. And this is the disposal turned upside down because we need to put the power cord on it. Under our sink there's an outlet, so we need to put a cord on it. So we bought the kit from InSinkErator. So we start out with, there's a plate right here. Loosen the screw. You can remove the plate and you see the wires inside. You can pull them out where you can work on them. Then we need to get the cord out. So we start out with this is a clamp to hold the wire. Take the nut off. And the clamp screws in here. You can take a pair of pliers and gently tighten it down a little bit. Okay, so now we want to stick the wire in through the hole, making sure that this is curved so that it comes out over here. Through the clamp. Just stick your finger in to help it out along. And you want to push it so that this little sheath here is in the middle of the clamp. And you tighten the clamp down on the wire gently. You want it to be tight enough to keep the wire from slipping, but you don't want to pinch it and break it. Okay, so now we need to connect the wires. So you look, and the instructions say that the wire with the ribs, this one it's got some ribs, connects to the white wire. So you take this and you twist it together to clean up the loose ends and kind of twist them a little bit together. Take the wire nut and put it on and screw it on, making sure that it's tight, and then give a pull on each of the wires to double check that they both are on there good. Then use the smooth wire connects to the black and yellow one here. Same procedure. Twist together a little bit. Use the nut that came with it and screw it on. Make sure it's tight. And give a good pull. Okay, so that's the black one's the power, the white one's the neutral. Now we have to connect the ground for safety, and that connects to this screw right here. So I take the screw out, put it in. Okay, so now we take the green ground screw and we put it through the ring on the end of the wire, and then have to screw it back in to the disposal. Turn it so that the wire points down, and then tighten the screw. Okay, so now it's all ready to go into under the sink. It's all assembled. But I want to show you a couple things first. If when you're using it, it gets stuck and it doesn't want to turn anymore, you can take this tool that came with the disposal that we used to take the old one out, and you can shove it in this hole in the bottom of the disposal, and you can spin like this and see if that'll make it come up unstuck. And then you have to be careful, don't reach your hand in from the sink, but you can spin it like this. If you keep trying and trying and then the motor stops working completely, that means the motor overheated. And then if that happens, you wait for it to cool down, and then you can press this little button right here, and that resets the motor from the overheating, and you can try it again. These are common problems that are easy to fix if you know how to do it. So make sure you don't lose this tool that came with it. Keep it someplace handy in case something gets stuck in the disposal. Okay, so now we have the wire hooked up, and we can turn it on its side. There's two holes here. This one is for the drain, and this one is in case you have a dishwasher. You can hook the dishwasher hose up here. But it's got a plastic plug in it from the factory that you have to knock out, but only knock it out if you have a disposal or a dishwasher. So you stick a screwdriver in there. You can take a hammer and kind of make sure you got it all knocked out. Have to reach in. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, there's. So So then you got to get it out. And this is what we knocked out, a little plastic plug. So then that's all set to go for the dishwasher then. Okay, so now we're ready to put it on. This is the top of the disposal. First you want to take and make sure there's no dirt on the top of the gasket here. And then we're going to mount it. This is the mounting ring that's already, this is the old one. The new one's underneath the sink already. So what we're going to do is hold this up there underneath the sink, and you can see you hold it up there so that these tabs, there's 3 of them, can slide onto the mounting ring that's on the bottom of the sink, and you turn it till it latches into position. So that's what we have to do underneath the sink. This is the old one, so we don't have that. Up here's the new one on the bottom of the sink. So we hold it up into position. Doesn't have to be perfect, you can twist it later. And then you make sure you get all 3 feet latched. You can turn a little bit and get hooked. And then you can put the wrench in the hole and give it a good twist. Now it's firmly on the bottom of the sink. Okay, so this is the hose for the dishwasher. First thing you want to do is make sure the clamp is on the hose. And this one, because it's old and we're reusing it, the end needs to be cut off a little bit. It's all, you can see it's bulged out and bigger. So take a utility knife. Be very careful so you don't cut yourself. So now we want to stick it up here and put it on this spot where we knocked the hole out earlier. Make sure the clamp is on the hose first. Just squeeze it on. Make sure it's on all the way. And then you take the clamp, put it up close to the end so that it'll tighten on that piece that was sticking out. Okay, so now we've got the dishwasher drain on. Now we're going to put the main sink drain on. So first, I'm going to take this clamp, and I've got a pair of slip joint pliers used to pinch the spring like that to make it bigger. Have to adjust a little bit so I can pinch it closer together. The more you pinch it, the bigger the ring gets. There we go. So we slide it on, and then we take the pipe that came with the disposal and shove it in the rubber and bring the ring back and release it with the pliers. Okay, so now we're ready to assemble the piping for the drain. This is the piece that's going to come out of the wall. We're going to start out by taking the nut, and you want to put the threaded side towards the end of the pipe so it goes on like that. And then you take the gasket and you want to put it so that the tapered side is towards the end of the pipe. Like that. Now, if you're reusing the old pipes, you'd want to get a new gasket. We're going to be putting all new pipes in, so because they're not too expensive, so we'll do that. Put that in there. Then this goes into the pipe that's in the end of the wall, and this gasket sets up against the inside of the pipe, and you tighten the nut onto the pipe coming out of the wall. Don't tighten it too tight at this point because you have to adjust. Okay, now we're ready to assemble the trap. It assembles the same way. You first take the nut and you put this nut on so that it's with the threads facing this end. and another nut and gasket on this end, same as we did before. And this is the trap. It's called a P-trap, so that piece fits in there, and this screws on there. The idea of this is water, after you use it for a little while, will always stay down in this piece here, so that gas from the sewer doesn't back up into your sink. So it keeps the water down in here. If you get a clogged drain, usually it's clogged down in here, and you'd have to just undo the two nuts and take this out and clean it. So then we take this piece and set it over here, attach it to this piece with the nut, again just loosely so that we can adjust. If you tighten a little bit, that tight, then it's now strong. We have the T in place, so now we're going to, or the trap in place, so now we've got the T. We assemble it the same way with the gasket and the nut. This piece will go down to the trap, this will go over to the other sink, we have a double sink, and this piece will go up to the garbage disposal. So we put it in like this. You can adjust it up and down some, but you can see here, in this case, the piece out of the garbage disposal is too long. You want to cut it so that this pipe here is horizontal. You don't want it to be sticking out, so that this way the water can drain. So the easiest way is to hold it up, push it down all the ways there, so you have, because you can always pull it out for adjustment, and then measure when everything's lined up flat. Measure to this spot right here, but over here on this pipe, and mark it. Then we can take this piece out, opposite of how we put it in. And we can see the mark here. Now I'm going to use a simple hacksaw to cut it. So it'll be just okay. So now we have it cut, but it's got all these little fuzzies on it. So we're going to take the utility knife again and gently scrape the edge. Okay, so now we have cut the pipe to the right length. So we start out, we put the nut on, same thing with the threads pointing to the end, and the gasket, taper pointing towards the end. Have that all assembled. So now we get the same as before, get the clamp and the slip joint pliers, pinch the ring, put it over the rubber boot, put the pipe in the boot, and put this the clamp back. And then we can tighten, push the pipe into the T, and tighten that down. Double check everything's okay. Now we have to make the connection over to the other sink. But the piece we have, same as before, is too long. So we hold this up, stick it in the pipe over here, and same as before, take a look and make a mark on the pipe that lines up with the end of the flange. Then we do like we did before, cut this with the hacksaw and use the utility knife to take the fuzzies off. Okay, so now we've cut the pipe. We've got all the fuzzies off of it. So we're ready to put it in. So again, we've got the gasket and the nut on. Put that in. Loosely tighten this end. And then the same over here, we've got a new gasket. And a nut. Tighten up this end for the bottom of this sink. You can make it a little snug now. Tighten this end up. Check all the nuts, make sure they're tight. And as we do this, we want to make sure that none of the pipes are hitting the bottom of the disposal, or else it'll make noise when it runs. All the pipes are straight and tight. Okay, now we have to put the rubber thing in up here that keeps things from falling down too fast and things from splashing back out. So you push it back in the hole. Making sure it's all the way to the bottom. And that'll keep things as the disposal's working from splashing back out. There. Okay, now it's the moment of truth. We get to try out and see if there's leaks. So we turn the water on. I'm running into this sink right now. So we see, check all the joints. Looking for leaks. Make sure nothing's leaking. We'll switch the water over so it's coming down through the disposal. Now that it passes the leak test, now it's time to plug it in and try it out. So we take the cord, plug it in, we'll turn water on just to keep it lubricated, and we try on the switch. And it runs. It works, all done.